with too many terminal. Rails new untold. It means let's eat, right? This is a new Rails project. Okay. Now one thing that I'm adding is a -j. It will just say use JavaScript, don't use CoffeeScript. CoffeeScript is causing the Windows machines some problem. Well, CoffeeScript because it requires the Node.js runtime. We actually don't need to learn CoffeeScript anymore. Rails came with CoffeeScript because it was a better way to write. It get transpiled into JavaScript. But the latest JavaScript, remember the arrow function? They copy that from CoffeeScript, so it's all good now. We can use JavaScript. Now that's J, so that could be a habit. The second thing, from now on, you probably will use is you will specify PostgreSQL as your database. If you don't, you will get SQLite 3. You'll get SQLite, and this is a fantastic SQL database, but it's stored in memory. It loaded to memory and it's stored to one file, and it works for either mobile development or just the test web development. Yeah. Well, you could the limitation is that, let's say my server now has to load from the data and serve it. But when you go to production, you have multiple servers, and on Heroku you cannot store to any files. Heroku does not let you create new files and keep them. You can create new file, but when you restart the server, everything disappears. So if you deploy to Heroku, you notice your to-do app last time, you can mark done, it's not done. But when you come back later, it's all reset. Yeah, so it's called the ephemeral file system. So ephemeral file system. So it means Heroku basically, when you deploy a new code to the server, it gets the files get wiped out. If you just say Heroku restart, any files you create like todo.md and all of that, they get reset. So if we use SQLite, it will not work. Okay? So it will not work on Heroku. So SQLite is here, SQLite. This is the default and it's easy. It will work on all computers that start out, but it's not for production. So imagine if you work on SQLite on your laptop and then you deploy to production using PostgreSQL. It's not the same thing. Sometimes you may run into problems on production that you don't know because localhost, you don't have that issue. So the best way to make sure that we can build good and apps reliably is to use the same setup as your production server. Does that make sense? If you practice with PostgreSQL, then when someone uses your app on Heroku, you have a PostgreSQL problem, you can troubleshoot it. Okay, now with something like MySQL, PostgreSQL, it's like they have their own server. It's a database server. So your web server talks to the database server and it's reliable, right? They have different permission system. There are two different departments talking to each other. So on PostgreSQL, I have the permission to add new data to my one database, but I may not have permission to add to another database. But on our local machine, you all have to set up PostgreSQL, and if we all use PostgreSQL, then we can also work together. If you use one, I use one. Oh, you use that? I did not know. All right, so this is the options you normally have to type. -j, blah blah. If you do this, it will get rid of the test. But no, let's skip the test. We'll learn tests very soon, right? I'll create a new project. What is the next step after I create the project? Git. If you look at it, all these files are new. There is no commit. So how do I add the files? Add. Let's learn a little command line. Not a problem. Git commit. Okay, here you just say new Rails project. First commit anything up to you. Okay, new Rails project. Now I have this project, but do remember that this is the wrong folder. So I have to open VS Code in the right folder. So I go back to the other one, I'll just close it, okay? Alright, let's build our restaurant ordering system. The first thing you tend to do is to deal with the home page. So I have something here as the home page, but I have to decide what controller in action. And you may see some people say welcome controller index action or home controller index action. Both of them are reasonable. So I'll start with, I'll use this one, right? Shorter than welcome. How do I generate that in, do you know? Rails generate controller. Generate controller. What controller? Home, right? If you like to be very clear, you can type like that so that your eyes feel more comfortable. Okay, home is the controller name and index is the action, right? So now, because I already have this, I don't need this, so I delete the extra get that it created. As you just started out, you can just check, okay, I get one extra JavaScript file, one extra CSS file, and I have these things. Okay, I understand. Let's start the server. Alright? So I tend to use, where's my Untoy app here? I tend to use a different terminal. I just keep it here because it's very nice to look at the log when anything goes wrong. Alright, let's start. What's wrong? Thank you. Fantastic. I'm gonna keep it over here and let's start adding. What does the app tell us? They say generate the home page that has the restaurant menu page. So I have to pull it up. Sorry. Here I'll pull up the assignment page one more time here. We need something like this. And you can see the screenshot, some other screenshot. So we need a home page that look like this. And then we have a contact us page, which if you click on contact us, you go here. And we need a menu page. This menu page will be difficult, and that's the last piece that we'll do. So we'll do this page and this page first. Alright. Home page. Now, when you work on a serious web project, you want to use one of the CSS frameworks. And if you Google CSS frameworks, there are like 1,000 options for you. Okay? Bootstrap is just one. There's a popular ones are like, some other ones I have clicked on here. Bootstrap is probably the most popular, but probably it's going to be out of date. So they get to Bootstrap 4, they can't even release the real version. We keep using the alpha version. But it works very well with Rails, and it has very good initial system for us to work with. So I am going to use Bootstrap. But after you're familiar with one CSS system, please go ahead and try anything you like. For your homework, you can try something else. But know that if you try something else, you do have to learn the CSS class names. Any CSS framework will have a different CSS class name system. So to give you some example, is you will understand as I use it. It will come with CSS class names that we use. So the first thing that we do is to include this Bootstrap 4. Right? They have this version 4 alpha. So I Google Ruby Bootstrap, and there is a gem that add this library to the code for you. So I add Bootstrap to my project. Where do I put it? Gem file here. I run bundle, which is short for bundle install, and then I have to follow the instruction here. Now the instruction just say go to application and include Bootstrap. Okay? Now there is one thing you always have to do, which is to rename the file, CSS file here. App, assets, style sheets. You see the CSS thing here? This file right now, it automatically include all the other files in this folder, style sheets folder. So stuff you put in home.css will get loaded. However, this is a special Ruby way the Rails app like read this file, the comments in a special way to load them. I don't need any of this. So all of us, most of the time we change, please rename this to SCSS, and we use the Sass syntax, not the Rails syntax. So Sass is this is syntactically awesome style sheets. CSS means cascading style sheets. You define a rule, a CSS rule. If you do it for the parent, the child will also may or may not have that rule. So this is cascading style sheet. But you know, SCSS means CSS, but with more powers. Okay, we will do it. We will learn it as I do the demo anyway. So a lot of these things you don't have to go and learn them yourself. It's just learn by doing. So I'll show you. So SCSS here, delete everything in here. And this is the syntax, how you require another file. We learned that in Ruby. That's called require relative, right? Or just require. Here I say I require Bootstrap. Okay? And I also will need to require this other file. So import home. So keep this application.scss file as a file that loads other files. Don't put any stuff here. Don't put like, you know, body. Just keep it very simple. But then things that in your home page, put it in the home.css. Okay? Feel free to add more like navigation bar.css or anything, up to you. Huh? But just use SCSS for everything. Okay? Anything that is SCSS, anything that is CSS, you can paste into SCSS and it still work. That's why it's called a superset. Is that what superset? But anything that's SCSS, if you use it directly, it will not work. It has extra syntax. It needs to be compiled, but it's actually transpiled into CSS. I'll explain that. So I have Bootstrap. I look at my thing over here. If I reload the page, all right, so I'll reload the page. You will run into this problem because you added a new gem, so you need to restart the server because Rails load all the libraries at the beginning. Okay? So I restart the server, and now if I run this, it will take a while the first time, but after that it works. Do you guys see any difference? It changes the font. That is the old and this is the new, and it is if you view source, your app right now in your application.scss, you see it now become application.css, and this long fingerprint, this is so that the browser always has a new file to load so it doesn't cache the content. When you click here, you see all the CSS code from Bootstrap imported. It's a lot. That's why some people don't like it. It's a lot, too much. All right, we don't care. It's for learning. Okay? Let's do the first thing. I have the app now, SCSS. I reload this now. Fantastic. Let's start building our restaurant app. Where do we go for the homepage? Find me in this one. So I will just say welcome to Antoy restaurant, right? The best place on earth to pay your bills, right? Let's say. And now I want to use something that looks like this. And it takes time and experience, but Bootstrap has some of the components you can use. In here, you can search. This is called a, I don't even know what it's called. Jumbotron. So this is the Jumbotron. It's really just a freaking div with a gray color. Big deal. But we will copy this guy. Yeah? This is how we learn. We always first, we can copy, but we have to understand it. And don't put any dynamic code in it yet. So I'll just do this right now. And I go here and load it. Looks good. The next step I want to do is that this looks too disgusting, like really close to the margin. So I go to my layout. I go to my layout file. Alright, my application layout. Okay. Now in here, I'm going to wrap everything in a container. This is the div container. Bootstrap support this. Okay. So then I wrap it and I go here. It looks a little bit better. The cool thing is that when you go to the browser, becomes smaller and smaller. The container shrinks the size for you, and it works quite nicely. When the browser is big, do you see that it becomes very big? The container gives you only a little bit outside, but when you go into a smaller computer, then they decide. So this is the widescreen mode for the very big computer screen. This is a regular screen mode. This is the small screen mode like your iPad, and this is your phone. And again, the margin is adjusted for you. So this is called responsive design. Okay, that's not bad. What else do I need to do? Now I need to change the stuff in here. And let's learn to look at this. I have a Jumbotron class. I have a display 3, probably just to do with the size. So I will just say here, welcome to Antoy restaurant, right? So I'm gonna change to my, Yep, that's it, change back to English. Restaurant. So you can call yourself Tex-Mex or whatever name you want. And then here's the introduction. So you can maybe find an existing restaurant if you want, but welcome to, okay, I can do that. Maybe welcome to, I don't know, this display 3 looks a little bit weird, but it's okay. Right, health first, right? Money later, I don't know. Money second. Alright, and then you can set up a background if you like. So go and find some background right now. Do you guys see the background? The color here is a little strange, but you can change it. So here's the, by the way, here's another cool view in responsive design. If you click the button next to this guy, you can choose the screen size so you can test your website. Okay. Now obviously I don't care about them right now, so and Bootstrap kind of help you with them, so it's okay. I can be confident it'll look better. What I want to do is to change that color. So Jumbotron CSS has this. Here's the color, right? I can overwrite this color. So no problem. CSS is loaded here. Bootstrap loaded first. My home is loaded later. So I'm going to change the Jumbotron stuff in here. Jumbotron here, right? Background color. So let's choose the color that I like. You can choose this, and then maybe let's make it a little. Oh man, nothing is beautiful. Maybe that. And then I choose this color. So go in here, background, color, like that. Obviously, VS Code also allow you to select that, so that's pretty cool. And then obviously maybe you want to change the color of the text to white if you need to. Alright, so I'll leave you guys to that one. I see that the Jumbotron has something at the top here that's not very nice. So maybe I have margin top to be like 10 pixels for now. And let's refresh. Okay, that's not too bad. Do I want it to be in white? Maybe. Alright, so I go back to the index page. This is too big. This will just be, I was gonna say welcome to is here, and then who doesn't know it's a restaurant? So I don't know. So you can start playing with the. I actually don't know the display 3.4 if it has any use. Okay, maybe it does. You can style it. That's good. Well, display a picture here. Not a problem. So we use something that generate a fake picture. Okay. And here's the bootstrap thing that you can learn next. If I want to divide something into one column and the other column, that is, I can do that with something called a row diff. And inside the row diff, I have a column 6. So it's a 12 column grid. This means a medium screen. So that's the first column. And I put these 3 guys in it. Alright. So just try to pay attention and try to take in, but I don't expect you to remember it. Right? The purpose of the lecture is to see what can be done. If we just use some of the, if you already know the content, and as you work on the homework, you discover this again. So this is the second half of my column. Right now, let me see. Does that make sense to you guys? This column and this column. Well, there are 12 of them. So if you use 6, yeah, it's a grid of 12. So I refresh, and now it has 6 here, and you have 6 over here, and it's inside this container. So so it's 6. So it's divided half and half. Okay. Now the word MD means medium. So it means if your screen size goes smaller than medium, this is medium. It still gives you 6. If you go smaller than medium, then the whole thing is 1 again, and then it just push the second one to the second row. This is how it works with your mobile phone, because on your mobile phone, sometimes it doesn't want to split the screen. It want to flow them to the next. Alright? So you're getting used to the responsive design stuff. And this kind of thing, I only show you, and you just sort of have to learn it as you work on it. I cannot explain too much. Now, but do ask questions though, then I can explain. If you change it to small, then when I refresh this, then this is a bit unreliable. If you change it to small, technically, I need to change both to small. Then it still works with small, but you see that it starts to look weird, right? Then you do want it as medium. And the smallest you can go is XS. So this is the XS mode, and if you really want to divide anything into 2, then you do that. Then it's XS mode. So what should we get it back to? MD, right? It makes sense, and for the mobile screen, it can just display it alternatively, in the next div. Okay? So 4, 4, 4, so that's 3 columns. Here is 6, 6. Okay? And we use the row thing because you need to, the row thing will wrap around them, and the row thing will get pushed to the left a little bit so the margin is evenly distributed. you will discover if you forget the routing, it will look a little off. Okay, so I need an image in here. Let's.
The total up to column is
12.
must.
For yes. So if you look at grid system here, and this is the grid system layout. It's based on 12 column layout. Some CSS framework give you more than one option. You can do a 12 column or you can do a 25 column, but see, Bootstrap only one 12. Okay. All right. So image. There's this trick that helps you develop website faster, like lorem pixel. Have you guys heard of lorem ipsum? So that's to generate random text. So I'm going to generate random, here is random image. So you go to this URL, you get a random image every time. Actually, there's another website here. It's called Lorem Fricker. So Lorem Fricker is the same, but I think it's just a lot slower, which I don't like. So in here, you can type a word and it will just display that word for you. So here will be like noodle soup. It's very it's very convincing, right? That you build this fake app and you can display it. Unfortunately, it looks really slow. Oh, that's not okay. That's not cool. That site is not as stable as this guy, but this guy only have the main stuff like this. It doesn't do everything, so I don't think I can do like restaurants or anything. It's just some category. So we'll pick our battle. Yep, it's faster, but unfortunately, it's not as cool. It's not as so Flickr is slower, but it's more flexible. So I use Flickr for now because Lorem Flickr, and here I'll just call maybe restaurant. This is my homepage image. Oh God, maybe it's better to just maybe it's better to just go to your Google and find a nice image, right? All right. Here's a link to is one, but now you learn something called the image tag. That's another way to make it really convenient to use the Rails helper. Of course, you can try to use this thing and then try to remember that your image, there's a source attribute in this alt and stuff. So here's my image tag. And then I will go back to this. Remember the URL is a little slow. Very nice. This looks like a restaurant page, except if I refresh, it probably come up with a different image. I want this to display the whole thing. It looks nicer, so this time to use CSS. And I know this image tag is inside this thing. I'm gonna don't use this class name to style, okay? Give it your own. So I'm gonna call here is like my restaurant image. That looks reasonable. And I go down here and say restaurant image. Okay? Here's the SCSS syntax, not CSS. If you use CSS, you can say image, and then you can style the image. If you use SCSS, you can group them and then put it inside. So this is called nested rule. Because then it's nice. You can have div and you have span. If without this, then you have to do like restaurant image with image, restaurant image, div, restaurant image, span. You get used to it. Don't worry too much about this right now. What I want to say is, hey, why don't you make this width to be like 100% of the inside the container, right? So let's take a look. Internet is so low, but it's getting better. You do want to adjust things a little bit. For example, in graphic design, we know the padding here and that padding here should be the same. So that's not good that it looks poorly done like that. So let's see what we can do about it. Maybe this Jumbotron need a little thing to the top. So let's see the box model. Where's my box? It's here. Like it's having this like 64 padding. That's super big. I don't like that. Padding 32 pixel. Okay, that is better. Then I can overwrite like that. So I feel confident about the change on the browser first, and I go here, copy the style over. All right, so let's make this change, right? I don't need this extra text, so I'm gonna delete this thing. Now for the button, then maybe I can put it on the left hand side. And here's the cool part. We're going to change to use our button. It's up to you, by the way. You could continue to use the HTML way, but you have to pass in the URL over here. Remember, well, I'm gonna use practice using the Rails way. All right, link to, I have 2 pages, contact us. Let's say I do contact us path. And then that's it. If I run this now, what happens? Yeah, so contact us is not a variable. It doesn't know undefined local variable for contact us. How do we fix that? Imagine someone defined a contact us page like that. It will understand that as a contact us variable. So that's nice, but we're gonna point it to my home contact us action. Are we good there? Now if I save this and run, then it will find, it will understand this contact us, and then if you click on it, it will go there. But when it goes there, what happens? You see the contact us here? When I go there, it will say action is not found. But you see, it's really useful. We learn by looking at the errors one step at a time. If you try to include a lot of things, you may get lost. So go to home controller. And here I define contact us. Now this, remember, it will call render contacts.html. So you refresh here, it will complain this file is missing. So let's go and implement it. So don't use a generator, all right, Ian? Are you still there? All right. So don't use generator. Let's just do it ourselves over here. All right, under home, create one, contact us. .html.erb. So now you get more used to it. So I'm going to go faster. This will be, let's say contact us here. I'm going to use a block. Maybe this is an address block. It's just an HTML element. You can call it anything you want. It's nothing special. It's just like a div. Okay. Except in here, maybe this is now go to school. 26 lý tư cháu, right? Break, that's a new line, and maybe another break here. All right, anything else? District 1, Ho Chi Minh, Vietnam, right? Ho Chi Minh City. It looks it's not very sexy, but you can make it better. Now, for example, what if I do a row again, but inside I have 2 columns?
The address tag, what is that?
Just like a div. So then you can style it in here.
Is that SCSS?
It's just that. No, it's just normal. You can use it, but if you use a div, then no one knows what that div is for. And people in HTML5, you use address, and people kind of understand. Oh, okay, you could use, but it has no special styling.
But I can only do it for like a few special things. I can't just write in whatever.
You can write in whatever, but it's just very confusing. You only want to use the address tag when you feel like it. Sometimes people you see people using the nav tag and stuff. Some people prefer to use the nav class. So this is just an example. You will see people using the address tag somewhere, and I use it so that it's not the first time you see it. Okay, so in here I'm going to put it on the left hand side is address. The second on the right hand side it's a map. So this is a row again, and inside a row I have a column medium 6. There are 2 of them. All right. So then I put these guys in there. Okay. And then down here I put the map. But then I'm like, how do I put the map in there? Anyone? Yeah, so maps. Here let's say go to school, and then you can find somewhere like maybe is it here, embed map. So you can copy this URL, and by now you know URL quite well. So when you copy, you can actually look at height and width, and you can change it yourself. So that's kind of nice to know HTML stuff. And I copy and paste, and it's just HTML. It's an iframe, but make your code look a little easier to read. So go to the space here, press enter down here. Oh god, that was long. And then, you know, so allow full screen, not really. Why do I want full screen? No need, you know. All right, that looks reasonable. No border width. Maybe I'll just make it 100%, something like that. Okay. And then so let's see. Close this guy and refresh. Right? So width like that, and then there's all that kind of, it works nicely, except you feel like, this guy is so small, this guy is so big. Maybe give it a little more. This is 4 and this is 8. And then it's a bit more reasonable, respectable, right? On your phone, it'll look like this. On your iPad, it'll look like this. That looks nicer. And obviously, please go and style your home CSS thing here. For example, put in like, you know, padding, you know, background color. Maybe you want the whole bigger background color, but for now, I just add something really simple so it doesn't look too empty. Yeah, it's somewhere there. Oh, it's kind of hard to see, but it's sort of light gray. Projector is too bright. Now, I do want to go back to the home page though. This is not useful. I lost my home page. Okay? So I am going to add something called a nav bar. So you go in here, nav bar. Where do you put the nav bar? Layout. Thank you. So it looks like this. So interesting. So that uses JavaScript. Let's forget about the JavaScript part for now. I copy this. It's a bit long, so I'll help you make it shorter. Layout. All right. Where do I put? Put here? Before the container? Look reasonable? All right. Let's paste. Oh my God, that's so long, right? Let's see. What can I remove? Well, here's the button that you click like this. I don't need it. I don't have any navigation really. Here's the thing called navbar, so I'm going to change this to my Amtoy restaurant, so it's kind of nice. Amtoy. And then here are the links. The first link, second link, you know, sort of the first link, second link here. I only have one link really, which is home. Let's make it go back to root path for now. Okay, it's a lot of code, but really, if you can remove anything, remove it. Okay with me removing the 2 bullets? All right, and removing the form. This is a search form. I don't need to search anything. You can go and add it back. So my navbar becomes, look at the color, something's wrong. Oh, I have an extra here, right? And that's not even true. I have that. Okay, so let's see what I have. All right, I have the, oh man, the screen is too bright, so you can't really see anything there. But basically, there's some color there, and here's your, but something is wrong. I don't see the links. It's a bit tricky if you use it for the first time. It's really weird. So that's this class. If you have to use JavaScript, and then it will just show the navbar again. But I have a little hack there. Just remove the MD selector thing there for now. If you remove it, it also doesn't work, so it's like tricky. There's a div here, collapse, navbar collapse. It means it's responsible for hiding this home when you squeeze it too small. So let's say on your phone, you don't want to see the menu. You want to see more like a drop down. Let's worry about that later, right? Right now it works for most screens except for that, right? Maybe on your phone you don't need to click on that home link. I don't even have any use for it really. Just know that if now I click on href here, I'll go back to root path. Here, I go back to root path. All right, click here. That's good. Now let's fix these buttons. And Where do I fix it? This one. Here is when you need to understand the concept of CSS framework. They tend to have buttons and extra classes you can use to style them. So I have here, can someone guess? Class, normally button. And then here you can say button primary. And here if you don't do button large, then it's a smaller button. So check it out, this is a smaller button. So in this case, I'll just say button large. You probably have a button small as well. Okay, so medium is the default. So let's see. All right, looks good, except, why? Why is it like, oh, because this is too, the width is too small for these two buttons. All right, that's fine. So it means I should move this back to the bottom, yeah? I don't know, maybe move it back down here after the row. So, whoops, so let's say here. All right, whew. So this will now be, the first one will be menu, and the second one will be contact us. And we finish with the user story, right? What is that? And technically, you may not want the primary thing. You might want the standard one. Actually, it's not called default anymore. The new thing is called secondary. Bootstrap change it once in a while. So I'm gonna use this is menu path. All right. Okay. Are we good there? Oh my God, this tool is so stupid. It automatically indent incorrectly. Let me just remove that. I think it's, where is it? I think this guy? I'm not sure. One of these plugins is messing with me. So make sure you indent it in here, okay? Right now I saved it just. So, well, right now there's no menu, so let's implement menu path. And we go to visit routes, and now we have menu, which go to menu, right? Okay, I'm going to do that feature next. It probably will be menu controller index action, right? But for now, I just keep it like this so that my page doesn't crash. Home menu. The most important thing I need to do next is what? Can someone guess? Oh my God, it looks so ugly. I'm so embarrassed. Using Bootstrap is not a nice way to like, okay, it only has like 3, 4. This is so useless. You know, 3 and 4. For now, yeah, this is okay. What's the most important thing I need to do now? This, guys. Look at that. It's too much, right? And I need to do this in front of you all, which is to create a README file. Please do not underestimate the importance of a README file. So where's my README file? Here's the template. I will save this file in my project. So copy this and create a README file. All right, delete the Rails one. Copy it there. Change this to your Anan project, and then keep the other one. User must be able to go to 2 pages. I think I finished that. User can see address and phone number. Okay, I pretend I have phone number there. User can see basic Google map. That's cool. User can navigate. All right, that's good. Now I am going to commit git status. A lot of files here. If you feel confident about them, you can add them. Git add period is the same as going here and press this add up here. So if I do that right now, all of this will get converted. You see the unstage become the add, and git status will give you all this as green. All right, let's commit. And you can write the message here, or you can write down here. So I already showed you how to write down here, so I'll write up here now. Finish the first few, let's say 3 first, items, checks, right? And normally you use a present tense, simple verb, just describe, your commit. Obviously, we understand it's past tense. You will never write something like will finish as the main message, right? So then it's done, commit, and it's good. Everything is clean. Now I'm ready to work on the next feature. Okay? So with that, let's take a quick break. So then I show the menu stuff, which will work with the model directly. Sorry to make you wait until you get to the model.